Now this Windows VM is downloaded. So we need to configure something more in the Hyper-V side of the world to obtain the IP addresses. So for that, what I need to do is I need to get into Server Manager, right? Add roles and features, and let us create a DHCP server. Okay, so you can do this manually, or just like what we have done earlier, you can basically do it from PowerShell also. Let me do this manually. Let us wait for this installation to be completed. Right now, let me click on complete DHCP configuration, and then let me call it as commit. Close, and then we are done. Right. So we have installed the DHCP server. Now if you go to the Server Manager, and if you go into Tools, right, you will be seeing the new section called as DHCP. Navigate to this section, right, and then let us open IPv4 and let us create a new scope over here. Okay, so in this scope, okay, let me call it as VM scope. This is a scope for virtual machines. Okay, and the start IP address will be 192.168.0.100, and the end address would be 192.168.0.200. Right, so do you want to exclude any of the IP addresses? No, I don't want to exclude any of the IP addresses. Right, yes, we want to configure these options. Then it is trying to tell what is your router's IP address. It is 192.168.0.1. let me add this. Right, so that would be my default gateway, and rest of the stuff there is nothing to worry about. Okay, yes, I want to activate the scope now, and then click on finish. Right, sir. Now what we would do is, let me get into C drive, and then let me create, okay, C drive, and then let me create a new folder which I'll be calling it as VMs for migration. And in this VMs for migration, let us create a folder for MySQL, Tomcat, Apache, and SQL Server. Right, sir. Now what I would do is, I'll take this folder's path, okay, and then let me get into that folder's path, VMs for migration. So let me get into CD MySQL. Okay, so let us go back to our image. But if you go back for our image, MySQL is a CentOS 7 machine. Let me go over here and then try to tell that vagrant init CentOS/7. Okay, we are trying to tell that initialize with this. Okay, so if you want to get the help of it, again the same story, vagrant init --help. Okay, so here these are the things which you can basically give, right? So I'll be creating vagrant init CentOS /7, right? And now the only thing which I am left to do is I am left to execute vagrant up command. So this vagrant up command is in the background is creating a virtual machine for you. Okay, and the default username and password for this vagrant machines will be generally username is vagrant and password is vagrant. Right, so there is an error with respect to setting enhanced session, but ignore this error. We might not worry about that. Okay, I'll show you how to manually start the machines, but let me get into cd Tomcat, and then if you look into this image, Tomcat is on Ubuntu image. So vagrant box list, if you look into it, our box name would be this. So let me basically go with vagrant init and then try to give a box. Okay, so vagrant up. So in this machine also we'll be getting the same error. There is some enhanced session kind of a issue which we are trying to get, right? Right, so creating and registering the virtual machine. Okay, so let me show you what happens in the background while this machine is creating. So let me go to tools, let me select Hyper-V manager. So if you see, the CentOS machine is created, right? So but that is a machine which I have created in the last step. Let me manually click on start. Let us see what happens to this machine and this networking. If we have configured everything correctly, we should be getting an IP address in the scope which we have created, that is between 192.168.0.100 to 200. Let us see what happens. Okay, our Hyper-V VM is also getting created. Okay, let us see what is, we should have got that error by now. Yeah, let me try one thing which I am speculating. Set execution policy unrestricted, yes to all, and then let me try to do vagrant up again. So if still I am getting the error, then we will go with manual stuff. Right, it's okay, let us not worry about that. So it has something to do with the vagrant issue, right? So if you see, we got the IP address of 192.168.100, and let me start this machine also. Okay, so what else do we need to create? cd dot dot, okay, and make dir. Okay, we have Tomcat we have created, and then Apache, and Apache is a Red Hat server, so vagrant box list. Okay, so I have to give generic slash rhel7, so vagrant init, and this, let me execute vagrant up now. Okay, so Red Hat machine is creating, and if you see in the Hyper-V, both the machines are running and both of them have got the IP address, right? So if you want to connect to this machine, I can do one thing. The other thing which I can probably do over here is, since we have chocolatey, so let me install choco install git -y, so that we'll be getting git bash. Let us wait for this git installation to be completed so that we can connect to that machines which have been created. You can do that from PowerShell also, but let us use git bash. Good. So hopefully git bash has been created. Now git bash. Okay, so let me change the properties of it. Options, I want a better text, so let us change it from 9 point to little bit huge in size. 9 might not be enough, we might need at least 18. Apply, code, save. Now ssh vagrant @192.168.0.100. Okay. Oh, we are unable to communicate. Strange. Okay, let us try to see what happens when we try to communicate by double clicking over here. Vagrant and vagrant. Yeah, I'm able to log in. I'm not sure why I'm unable to do that, but fine, whatever. So over here, let us see if I can connect to internet. Ping -c for google.com. Yeah, I'm able to connect to internet, right? Good. So let me do the same step for Ubuntu server also. Ubuntu, the username is vagrant and the password is vagrant. Okay, so ping -c for google.com. Yeah, right. They might not be best performing machines, but they will that will be more than enough for us to basically worry about. Okay, now what is that we were trying to do? We were trying to create creating an error occurred. Oh man, so importing the VM itself, we got the error. Fine, it's okay, right? So let me try the other machine, which is Windows. So cd SQL server. Okay, and then let us go to the Windows box which we were trying to speak about. Okay, so vagrant box list. Okay, vagrant init and this. Okay, now let me try to execute vagrant up. Okay, hyphen hyphen provider hyper-v. Okay, we'll try to at least migrate 2 or 3 VMs depending on what we have. So once this machine is up, we have at least 2 machines, and in these 2 machines I have to install the necessary software. So in Ubuntu I have to install Tomcat, and in CentOS I have to install MySQL. I think that is what this image says, right? So this server, we will see if it is not working out, we'll try to use the CentOS image itself, right sir? Now let me go to Ubuntu server. Okay, and let me try to see why it is SSH vagrant 101. Okay, and then yes, yeah, Ubuntu is logging in. I'm not sure why this machine is not. Fine. So sudo apt-get update. So I'm updating the Ubuntu packages. Okay, let me close this. And these machines might not be faster, sir. That is something which you have to bear with. Okay. So the Windows server, we might have got the same error which we have faced earlier. Okay, no, it is still creating and registering the VM. Okay. .92.168.0.100. Let us try CentOS machine also once. Oh, right. Somehow the CentOS machine, I think we need to change some configurations. Fine, that's okay. Right. So this is done. And then let me basically search for sudo apt-cache search Tomcat. So let us install Tomcat 8. Okay. So sudo apt-get or apt install Tomcat 8. Okay, I'll be running one application just for the namesake. Let us try to get that application's path. Okay, so let me log in into my AWS account. Console.aws. Oh, not here. Right. So let me basically get console.aws.amazon.com, and then let me get into not EC2, S3. and I should have a bucket which is basically available for reference apps, and from here let me download this path. Okay, so let me copy this link, go over in this machine. Okay, so I think in cd var lib you should have Tomcat 8, and inside that I am getting into web apps folder, and let me download this file. Okay, right. So if I've done everything correctly, configured everything correctly, then okay, in this machine if I type 192.168.0.101:8080, I should be seeing Tomcat, and slash game of life should show me. Okay, this is somehow not working. I think this is because of the Java version mismatch. Fine, that's okay. Tomcat is running, right? Okay. Now let us see what has happened to Windows Server. Right. Windows Server also had got the same issue. Fine, that's okay. Let me go over here, and then let me start this Windows machine. Okay. So now what I'll do is, let me get into the CentOS machine, because I'm able to log in from here. So let me see sudo vi etc sshd_config. Right, so here, right, this view is quite irritating, but so if you see, I think I should be taken to password authentication. Yeah, that is a problem. If you see, the password authentication is set as no over here, but in reality the password authentication should be yes. Okay, now let me do wq. Okay, right, so I'm unable to see the full screen view of it. Let me basically go right. So sudo service sshd restart. Okay, good. Now let me close this. Hopefully now we should be connected from here. Okay, so let me click on exit and ssh 100. Okay, background. Good. So on this machine I have to install MySQL. Okay, since Red Hat is not working, what we will do is, okay, let us try to create another Ubuntu server, because Ubuntu is on the simpler side. Okay, so what I'll do is, I have created this Apache server, right? So let me delete this. Okay, that is a change which I'm trying to do, because I don't want to it really doesn't matter which server you are trying to work on. So let me go with vagrant box list. Okay, let me go to generic slash Ubuntu 1804 vagrant box or vagrant init. Okay, and vagrant up. I'll be making all of these configuration files available for you, or these folders available for you, so that you can jump in and do the stuff. Right. So at this moment, if you see, we have 3 servers that are running. Okay, let me try to connect to the Windows server. Okay, The first thing which you should always check is whether you are getting the IP address or not, right? Okay, so let it take its time. Now let me try to execute if I can mstsc -v 192.168.0.102. Let us see if this works out. Sounds like an Inception movie. We are already in the remote desktop, and inside that remote desktop we are trying to create one more. Right, so what is your username? Generally the usernames will be Vagrant and Vagrant. So our Windows server is running on 1 GB of RAM, which will be dead slow. Okay, just for the simplicity I've just minimized this. So if you see, our Windows server is also ready, and this Windows server has a SQL server. Good, sir. It will be slow. I'm closing this machine. Okay, we'll come back to individual machine installations at a later point of time, right? So we have one more Ubuntu server, and as usual that might have failed, that will be failed, right? But on this machine also I need to log in. So let me start this server. Okay, so let me rename this server. Okay, so and let me give it a name for called as this is a machine where we'll be running Apache. Okay, so let me start the machine. Okay, so obviously this will be getting the IP address of if this was 102, then we'll be getting 103. I'm hopeful that it is 103. Yes, good, because that is how we have configured a DHCP server. Yes, Vagrant. Since Apache server is easier to configure, let me execute sudo apt-get update. And after that I'll be installing Apache to server. Right, sudo apt-get install Apache 2. So in the next video we will be trying to install the MySQL server, and we will try to configure the SQL server video.